Without treatment and evacuation, wounded Russian soldiers complain that they are sent to storm and carry out combat missions. Some say that everyone around them is wounded. However, no one is going to treat them because soldiers in the Russian army are expendable material. FREEDOM reports they don't treat them properly, don't operate, and don't evacuate them. This is what the servicemen of the 503rd Motorized Rifle Regiment of the Russian Occupation Army complain about. They complain that despite the seriousness of their injuries, they cannot restore their health, according to FREEDOM. The bone hasn't even healed. It's already been 7 months. No pills, no vitamins, nothing. I need an operation. The fragments need to be removed. They're not doing anything. The Russian soldier tells journalists from the Telegram channel, don't expect good news. The fighters say that they are treated so indifferently because they are part of the Shturm-V unit. They say we are Veshniks, we must die. Second-class people, they say, a second-class contingent. And they also emphasize that this will write in the documents. The Telegram channel don't expect good news, quotes Russian military personnel. The soldiers of the 11th Company of the 4th Battalion of the 55th Guards Motorized Rifle Brigade complain that the majority of the 300 are fighting, that is, after being wounded. They say that even those who were wounded a month and a half ago still could not get to the hospital. And the seriously wounded are denied treatment, claiming that they are absolutely healthy. We are here, the majority of the 300s. They are not treating all of us. Even those who were treated, they threw everyone out of the hospital tonight, not fully cured. They don't give a damn about anything, and they are starting to cover their tracks. The last batch of guys was brought in. They were trained for only 5 days. We reported that they were not ready to go on a combat mission. They were still gathered and pushed to the front. The Telegram channel don't expect good news, quotes Russian military. A serviceman from the 7th military base, Andrei Lyamin, signed a contract in March last year. He was wounded in October, he says. There was no evacuation, and they had to get to their positions themselves, and they refused to send them to the hospital. The soldier managed to get it, and he was sent to the hospital in occupied Donetsk. But there was a surprise waiting for him there. They did not want to treat him for free. When I arrived at the hospital, I was not given proper assistance or treatment. The head doctor said that we were required to undergo all treatment at our own expense, to buy various medications for ourselves with our own money, the soldier told Russian journalists. Then he was denied leave for rehabilitation. The chief of staff with the call sign Grek sent the soldier, who had not fully recovered, on a combat mission. Otherwise, he threatened to kill him. The military is also deprived of payments for injuries. Lyamin says that the command treats everyone who was wounded in this way. Lame, cross-eyed, sick guys, older men, who also come there after being wounded, refuse to perform a combat mission after being wounded because they are not cured, not fully cured, cannot walk, move independently. They are all thrown into a pit. In my presence, this happened more than once. First, they beat them. Then they threw them into a pit. They were in the pit for some time, without water, without food, after which they were pulled out and sent to zeroing, Lyamin said. The occupation army has complained more than once that the Russian command is not carrying out proper evacuations. In this video, the soldiers talk about the conditions they are in on the front lines. A wounded soldier with the call sign Italian waited 10 days for evacuation. 10 days without water, without food. He survived. In the end, they found him. Russian military personnel told journalists from the Telegram channel, don't expect good news. People with serious diagnoses are also sent on combat missions. For example, the wife of a serviceman from the 109th Separate Rifle Regiment, Sergei Vasiliev, said that her husband was sent to the contact line with a confirmed diagnosis of hepatitis. During the treatment, he was diagnosed with hepatitis C. During an examination of the internal organs, it was reported that, according to the examination results, there is a risk of developing liver cirrhosis. Proper treatment is currently not provided. Biopsies are not prescribed. Therapy is not carried out, Vasiliev's wife told Russian journalists.
The U.S. and Canadian Coast Guards on Saturday continued efforts to break up ice and free a freighter that has been trapped in a frozen Lake Erie for days, officials said. According to Associated Press, the Manitoulin, a 663-foot Canadian vessel with 17 people on board, got stuck in the ice on Lake Erie on Wednesday after it dropped off a load of wheat in Buffalo, New York, and was heading back to Canada, the U.S. Coast Guard said. The ship wasn't damaged, and its crew is safe, officials said. Freighters in the Great Lakes often encounter surface ice in the winter but sometimes run into ice that is too hard or thick to break through. A U.S. Coast Guard ice-breaking ship has been working since Thursday to help the Manitoulin, and on Saturday officials said a second ship arrived to help free the freighter. The Canadian Coast Guard also has a ship assisting with the effort. A U.S. Coast Guard helicopter is at the scene conducting flights to monitor the situation. A third U.S. Coast Guard ship is also scheduled to arrive on Monday, in case the Manitoulin remains stuck. The crew of one of the boats of the Navy of the Armed Forces of Ukraine destroyed an enemy missile during an air attack by Russia on the night of January 25. The Russian X-59 was launched at the seaport, Yuzhny, by the Su-57 aircraft. But the sailors did not give it the opportunity to hit the civil infrastructure of the sea trade port. How they repelled the attack, they showed in the Navy. The crew of one of the boats of the naval forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine destroyed the enemy missile X-59, which was launched from the Russian Su-57 aircraft and was aimed at the civil infrastructure of the Yuzhny sea trade port. The naval forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine together with units of other forces' defenses continue to destroy the enemy on land, sea, and in the air. Noted in the message. The Navy also published a video of the reflection of the night attack. It shows the moment of hitting the enemy rocket, as well as its wreckage with a characteristic hole that appeared as a result of the impact. We remind you that during the night attack on the night of January 25, a residential 9th floor was damaged in Vishnevo, Kiev region. Balconies on several floors were destroyed, window frames were knocked out. In one of the entrances there was a destruction of the ceiling of the stairwell.